Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to Roseburg Speakers and Storytellers. We pride ourselves on having fun and learning, so we will have fun and learn something today. We're going to learn something about Michelle, that's for sure. So let's turn this over to our Toastmaster of the day, Tiger. Thank you, sir. Welcome, everybody. Today's theme is there is no theme. We're just going to be here today and have some fun, and we're going to introduce Paul, correct? Paul?
Yes,
The
that's my name.
Toastmasters. So we're going to introduce Paul to Toastmasters. Paul, why don't you just give us a quick rundown of who you are, how you got here, and why you're here?
Well, the why I'm here is pretty easy. I've had a lot of experiences with public speaking that haven't really gone well. Um, some that have ended catastrophically. So I would like to get a little bit better at public speaking, especially because I have some pretty big public speaking opportunities coming up for me.
Uh,
So who I am, I got my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Chico State University in California.
hmm.
But I'm trying to kind of segue out of that career field and go into more of like a writing career. So that's who I am. I in my spare time I like hiking and writing and reading.
Right on. Well, welcome. And where are you now in California? What town?
I'm currently living in Redding, California, which is like at the far north end of the Central Valley, about 2 hours from Oregon.
Yeah, I was in Redding for 2 years, and the joke is living in Redding, California is an oxymoron. But we'll just
Oh, that's beautiful.
contradiction in terms to live in Reading, but that's okay. That's for another time. No, I spent a couple years in French Gulch, if you know where that's at.
Yes, I've been there a couple times.
All right, let's go ahead and get started with our meeting. Let's introduce our timer for the day. Lauren, can you give us the lowdown on your timing devices and times?
Yes, thank you, Tiger. I'm going to be the timer for today. The speaker has five 5 to 7 minutes. At the 5 minute mark, I'll show green, 6 minutes, yellow, 7 minutes, red. Then when we move to table topics, each speaker will have 1 to 2 minutes, and 1 minute I'll show green, 1 minute 30 seconds, yellow, 2 minutes red. It's important to have a timer to be concise and give your speeches and presentations in a short and matter of fact kind of way to not what's it called? To not carry on unnecessarily. So thank you.
And thank you for not carrying on unnecessarily. Who else do we have? Titan is our grammarian and counter. Titan, can you please tell us your role today?
Yes, sure, Tiger. So, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters, distinguished grammar enthusiasts, I'm very happy to serve as a grammarian today. Grammarian is not a stern judge, but a playful friend. So, here is a little challenge for all of us throughout the meeting. Sprinkle your speeches with the linguistic gems that make my heart as a grammarian sing with joy. As a grammarian, it is my duty to introduce the word of the day with the meeting theme that is a no theme today. So the word of the day that I would like to suggest is serendipity. Serendipity is a noun. It is a delightful word that I think encapsulates unexpected and fortunate discoveries. It means the gift of finding valuable things that is not looked for. Example of the word serendipity in a sentence. As we navigate through the themeless journey today, let us embrace the serendipity of spontaneous speeches and unexpected moments. So let the language games begin. And also for the counter, I will be using Udly, the AI, and later we will find out how we do with our filler words in our speeches with the report from Udly. Over to you, Tiger.
Thank you very much, Teton. And could you put that word in the chat? Thank you. I think that does it for our team here. We've got our grammarian, we got our counter, we got our timer. I think we are ready to rock and roll, which means we get to our speaker, Michelle, who's been in Toastmasters longer than I've been alive. That means she would have started when she was about 6 months old, I think. And this is a speech. She says it's off the cuff, but this is something she's been probably thinking about for a long time, being that she's going to put it in her book. This is a project connecting with storytelling. It is going to be 5 to 7 minutes long, Lauren. And the speech title is Riches to Rags. Michelle, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. It is indeed serendipitous that I opted to wake up early and show up here. I am not a morning person, but showing up here and hearing that we have a no-theme meeting and there's a slot for a speaker, I quickly changed from evaluator to speaker. And the word of the day is serendipitous. Wow, that is the story of my life, serendipity. But let me bring you back to many, many years ago when I was about 10 years old. Until that time, we had been what you might consider wealthy, well, at least rich, because my father was the general manager of a large shipping line, Uymachao Shipping, and he had a chauffeur that who would take us around, take us to our piano lessons, which we usually skip, but that's for another story. And we had all kinds of fancy food in our home and fancy furniture. We lived in a 2-story house, which in the Philippines was, a sign of wealth that you had a 2-story house. And we had helpers. Oh my gosh, we had helpers. Somebody to do the laundry, somebody to cook, somebody to clean, and of course the driver, the chauffeur. But even back then, I enjoyed helping with, I guess, play housework. And my mom would say, we have helpers, we have mates, don't do that. But it was just fun. When you don't have to do housework, then it's play to do it. Well, come the time that my father's health started to decline, and it got to the point that he could no longer hold down his general manager job. So the company, in recognition of his long years of service, retained him, but on a lowered responsibility and correspondingly lower pay. He lost the chauffeur, and we had to give up the beautiful house, move into a cramped apartment. It was cramped and dark and damp. But if I thought that was the worst of it, I was not prepared for what happened. Within a few months, he passed away. And even that cramped little apartment, we also had to give up. We had to move in with my grandparents, and they were already crowded in this wooden house that Papa had built for them many years ago. There was my uncle, my aunt, my cousins, my grandparents, and then us. Believe it or not, we all crowded into one small bedroom in the house. My sanctuary, and I guess back then I wasn't afraid of heights. My sanctuary was I would climb up on the roof and basically hang out on the roof because there I could look out and it didn't feel so crowded or so cramped. And that worked out all right, except for the growling, rumbling sounds of my tummy looking for food. Food was scarce. And I don't mean food, meaning you get off the roof and go down, open the fridge. There was no fridge. There wasn't even a gas stove. The stove was made of, probably have never seen it. It was clay with, and you put in firewood. And I was the one who used to chop the firewood. That was not a hardship for me. The chopping of the firewood was okay, but it was finding the food to cook. My grandpa would go to the marketplace, the wet market, which was cheaper. And then he would go behind the stalls where the food being sold, the produce being sold was not so good, where the fish had, the fish didn't look very fresh anymore. It wasn't just looking, they were not very fresh anymore. The vegetables were sad. Everything was cheaper there because the vendors would toss those things if nobody bought them. So you could buy them for a song or sometimes just a thank you. Grandpa would bring that home. And then it's been almost 50, almost 60 years. I can still recall the putrid smell of that fish being fried using oil that should have already been tossed days ago. The oil was used, recycled, and it would fry the fish, and the fish just stank. It stank, but you knew that was what you were going to eat. And you knew that you were going to eat that with not rice, but corn, because corn was cheaper, but not good corn. Corn that probably, maybe the pigs might not have wanted to eat them. They were not ground well. And then they weren't cooked to dry. They were cooked with some water to spread them out. And you could put some salt in and you ate it with that rancid fish. I still remember that smell. There's something about the smell. It will never go away. And that wasn't the only aspect that we had to suffer. We didn't have electricity most of the time. So we had to use an oil lamp. I wish I had one of those oil lamps. It was a tin can with oil and you lit the wick. So once when it got dark, you didn't want to go out because it would be dark, very dark. And then the worst, and I'm sorry to share this with you, but the worst was that we didn't have indoor plumbing. We had to go outside to use the bathroom. And I will just gloss over the details of, I talked about the stench of the fish. I will not talk about the stench of the outdoor bathroom. Suffice to say that for me epitomized the fall from riches to rags. And to this day, I'm always sympathetic to people who are in dire straits because I remember that I was there for over a year. Time did not have a good reckoning, but I think it was around a year or more that I was in that condition. So next time you think about what things you don't have, just remember somebody else would be much, much worse than you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Michelle, for that touching and important story. I think it's always good to remember. I'm without a toilet right now, but I live in a campground, so there's a toilet not very far away. Just got to walk out in the cold a little bit. Let's move on to my favorite part of the meeting, which is table topics. And we have a special guest all the way from Indonesia today that is going to lead us in table topics. And Mary, you are the general evaluator, even though you slept in. Thanks, Mary, for coming. We appreciate it. Okay, Arnie, the virtual podium's all yours.
Thank you, Tiger. Hello, everyone. I'm Arnie and I'm the table topic master today. I will randomly pick any one of you. Let's start with Paul. Paul, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. My question for you is, do you celebrate the things do you have? Do you celebrate the things you do have? 1 to 2
I do
minutes. Don't
celebrate.
forget serendipity.
I do celebrate the things that I have because, as Michelle said, some people are going through less fortunate times, and I've gone through those times myself. And I know how it feels to hurt because I have anxiety. So when I get good people in my life or I get good opportunities, like to join Toastmasters, it makes me want to take it more because I appreciate the finer things in life.
Can you give example the finest things in your life?
What's that?
Can you give the example?
Oh, of something that I enjoy in life.
Yes.
Well, yesterday, I went hiking at this place called Chemise Peak. So it's just to the north of the town and where I live. And for the, I think for the last 2 or 3 days, there was a snowstorm that hit the mountains that surround my city. And so, oh man, like all the mountains were just covered in snow. And the contrast of the white snow with the green forest below, it was just so beautiful. And it was sunny. And it was actually kind of warm yesterday where I was after several days of really cold weather. And it just kind of was an interesting juxtaposition with where I've come from in my life, how kind of metaphorically speaking, I guess, my life has been rather cold and dark. And that beautiful warmth surrounded by nature is just like I felt totally in the moment. And it was such a beautiful moment for me. And like I felt one with the earth and everything. So that's kind of me celebrating the finer things in life, I guess.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for sharing. That was really wonderful. I can imagine how beautiful the place you live in. And I hope you can conquer the anxiety and being with these wonderful people in this club. I believe it can help you more. Thank you. It is
Yes.
a serenity to know you.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to ask. Thank you, Paul. As Paul said and Lisa said that we have to be grateful with what we have. Mary, may I ask you, what are you most grateful for?
What I'm most
What are
grateful.
you for? Yes.
Grateful. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. What I am most grateful for is my health. Um, it's something that money can't buy. And if you don't have it, it just really limits your quality of life. And so I am grateful that right now I am healthy enough that I can do all the things that I want, go to the places I need to go, and I'm pain free, so I don't have to suffer in pain. And it allows me to do all the things that I wanted to do in retirement, like particularly traveling. And so I always say there's just no price on being healthy. But on the flip side, I feel like I'm not doing what I need to do to maintain that health. And so my New Year's resolution, like most years, exercise more, eat less, or eat healthier. And so I've tried to um, implement those. And as a rule, I typically fail within a month or so. It just kind of goes by the wayside. I start out all gung ho, going to the gym, and then within a month or so, it just kind of falls by. But because I have some health issues with my knees, it doesn't prevent me from doing things, but there is a little bit of pain, and I do struggle with steps or walking long distances. And I'm getting ready to do some big trips that involve a lot of walking. It's really imperative that I stay with my plan to get healthy, to strengthen my legs, and um, get rid of some of the weight that's causing the pain on my knees. So, in summary, if you got your health, you got it all. That's what I am most grateful for. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Mary. That's so wonderful. You got help, you got everything. Hope you're getting better with the knees. And I agree with you to do exercise more and eat healthier. It is really hard to do because me, myself, I'm omnivora. I eat everything. Thank you for sharing, Mary. Now I would like to ask Tiger. Tiger, where do you find inspiration? Where do you find inspiration?
Oh, sorry, Arnie. Can you say that again?
Where do you find inspiration?
Where do I find inspiration? I find inspiration. Yeah, I find inspiration in many places, but in terms of Toastmasters, where I find inspiration is people that are speaking English as a second language who are giving 5 to 7 minute speeches. I've been trying to learn a language and I can't give a 30-second speech to memorize the second language. I can give a 2 or 3 minute speech reading another language, well, after several hours of practicing the pronunciation. So to give a 5 to 7 minute speech, to know it, basically memorize it in a second language, that's, to me, is just mind-boggling. In other parts of the world, we don't realize, for example, in Indonesia, they have speech contests in English. That is amazing. And Titan, I helped her give a speech. She participated in a speech contest in Indonesia. I've helped other people, people that speak Hindi, people that speak Chinese, give speeches in English. And this, to me, is just amazing. It is, I think, the highest level. I do teach English online, and I tell my advanced students the highest level possible is to be able to write a speech, edit it for correct grammar, correct vocabulary, and then present a speech in front of a group. It's hard enough to do in English. To do it in a foreign language is absolutely amazing, and I am inspired by all the people that I've met that are doing Toastmasters in English that speak it as a second language. Thank you, Arnie.
Thank you, Tiger. I agree with you. English as second language is hard for me too. So my apology if you find difficult to understand my accent. I think Titin is speaking better than me, but I'm trying my best. This is one of the challenges, trying to speak English and try to reduce my accent so everyone can understand what I say. In Toastmaster, there is one club that really hardly understand what I say. It is in Uganda. Whenever I join in Uganda's meeting, most of the members hardly understand what I say, so I prefer to be timer, not to make them suffer with my accent. So that is one of my greatest challenges. I would like to ask Rafi. Rafi, what is your greatest challenge? Don't forget the word of the day, serendipity.
Ari, just to make sure I heard you right, did you ask me what is my greatest challenge? Oh, okay, I see that in the message. Okay. My greatest challenge. I would have to say my greatest challenge is keeping a straight face whenever I'm part of a club meeting at Roseburg Speakers and Storytellers, especially when there's Tiger around. And I don't think I can even remember any meeting I've been in which didn't have Tiger. There's something or the other that he's always up to. He's pulling everybody's legs. He's cracking jokes all the time, making faces at people, changing his camera angles, changing his backgrounds, something or the other all the time, right? Or but he can't pull my hair, so he keeps pulling my leg, especially, right? There's nothing left here. And then we have that competition going between him and me to see who can grow it faster. So any meeting that I'm at here in Roseburg Speakers and Storytellers, as I said, my greatest challenge is keeping a straight face. So far today, I think I've not had there you go. See, he's making a face again. Well, my network is a little slow as well. So pardon me in case he's made a face 30 seconds ago and I'm seeing it only now. But that's usually how it goes. Keeping a straight face in our club meetings, that's my biggest challenge. Back to you, Arnie.
Thank you, Ravi, for sharing. Keeping a straight face is your biggest challenge. So far as I joined this meeting, you really keep a straight face from the beginning. I think you almost conquer it. Thank you. Now, may I ask Michelle, where do you find peace? Where do you find peace?
Oh, yeah, we have plenty of time. Go ahead, Arnie. We have time for everybody.
Oh. Do we still have time?
Yes,
yes, Michelle. Yes.
So you can ask Lauren and Titin a question.
Oh, okay. I cannot ask Michelle. All right. Let me ask Lauren. I can help you with the timing if you need help.
I can do it on my phone.
Okay. Where do you find peace?
Where do I find peace? I find peace in a number of places. My dogs are the first thing that come to mind because they're always with me since I work from home. One of my dogs is always in the bed behind me, sleeping and making sure I do my work. I also find peace in pickleball. I have to bring up pickleball because it's so much fun and I always feel better after playing, especially after a long day of staring at a screen. It's nice to go on the pickleball court and play a few games, not having to think too much and talk about business or serious things. I laugh a lot more on the court than just throughout the day. I also find peace in having a home. My fiance and I purchased our first home, and it's nice to know that we're investing in something and there's a certain level of security with it. I find peace in a lot of things. Those are just 3. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Lauren, and congratulations for the new home with your fiance. May you both all live happily ever after. And it is wonderful. Pickleball. I remember you once talked about pickleball. It's good that the bonus is that we become healthier because we are doing the exercise. I think I have one more question for Titin. Is it okay?
And we may have missed Michelle. I'm sorry. Did I miss Michelle as well? And there might be two more.
Michelle. Okay. Okay, Michelle, are you ready?
You can do Titin first and then Michelle. I'm just saying there's two more, not just one more.
All right. Sorry, my connection is not stable. Michelle, who is the strongest person you know?
I think let's give a chance to Titin first. Titin.
Titin. Oh, okay. All right, that's my Titin. Screen is yours.
Thank you for your question, Toastmaster Arni. So I'm thinking hard. I've been thinking hard for the answer to this question. The strongest person whom I know, I believe the strongest person that I know is not someone from my family. That's what that comes in my mind right now. The strongest person, in my opinion, is someone who have experienced bitterness in their lives. However, they are still have the kind heart to share, to show compassion to others despite the bitterness that they have experienced in their life. So, yes, I admire very much those people who have experienced suffering, bitterness enough in their life. However, it does not change their personality from a good person to become someone who is bad and would like others to experience the bitterness, the suffering, adversity that they have experienced in the past, and they still kind enough to hope for the best for others so that others will not need to experience the bad things, the suffering that they have experienced in the past. I admire very much uh, such the kind of people with the good heart, kind-hearted heart, which is not influenced by their past, which might not be very good. So those are the strong people that I have in my mind. Thank you so much for this deep and philosophical question, in my opinion. Back to you, Toastmaster Arni.
Thank you, Toastmaster Titin. That is wonderful. Yes, I agree that someone who have experienced bitterness, it must be hard to put the smile on their face because the struggle they have in their life, but still be able to have and share the kindness with others must need really strong will in their heart. They, they must be really strong person. Yes, I agree with you. Then the last time, may I ask Michelle? All right, Michelle, what lifts your spirit when life gets you down?
Sorry.
What lifts your spirits when life gets you down?
What lifts my spirits when life gets me down? Like I said at the start of the meeting, I love the meeting because it is so serendipitous. And this is another question or opportunity for me to look back on what are the things that bring me up. there's so many. I probably could do another 5 to 7 minute speech, but no, we only have 2 minutes for this. So let me name some. One is music. There is something about music. It connects to some part of my brain. And oftentimes, when I just push the YouTube or Spotify or someplace, just play music, there will be a song that serendipitously touches me, my state, and the lyrics. I will sometimes pause it and rerun the same lyrics. For example, is it Josh Groban? You raise me. I don't have a voice, but you raise me up. Da, 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 da. I mean, that song just lifts me. Or sometimes Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. It just you cannot be sad when Beethoven's Fifth Symphony is playing. You just can't. At least me, I can't. And then there's the beauty of nature. There is something about sunrise. The only thing for me that beats sunrise are sunsets. They are so breathtaking. And my friends know it. Whenever they have beautiful pictures of sunsets, they send me the pictures. And usually the one word response from me is breathtaking. It just lifts my spirits up. And then, of course, there's I'm not a what you call that a couch potato, but sometimes watching some shows on television, especially the shows that are based on true stories, like Freedom Writers, like Remember the Titans. There's so many movies, and the one right now, the boats, Boys in the Boat. Haven't seen that yet, but I'm planning to. These are movies that inspire you. You watch these people, and you know, wow, they actually did this, and this was real, and they lift my spirits up. And there's so many more, but I know I'm going to go over time. So back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Roseburg Michelle. I think I would like to hear your speech about this topic next time. Reading, music, and sunrise. Yes, sunrise is so good, like giving us new hope every day to be able to see the sunrise. Thank you everyone for sharing your beautiful stories and experience. I learned a lot, and it's so serendipitous to be a table topic master because it is the greatest challenge for me to do the public speaking in front of you and also to speak English as my second language. Thank you. I will return the control back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Arnie. However, because we do have a couple more minutes, you are going to get to answer my question. This is what we call payback in the United States. Just kidding. Arnie, tell us about a serendipitous experience. In other words, an experience that you had that you enjoyed where you fully did not expect it or look for it.
Thank you, Tiger. Of course, I think being in this meeting because I'm not a good storyteller and being after attending some of the meeting from Roseburg Storyteller, I enjoy to listen to every one of you when you deliver a 5 to 7 minute speeches. When I heard Michelle or Mary, and it is so sometimes when I'm the timer, I have to pay careful attention because I might forget to turn on the green, yellow, and red screen because your speech like hypnotizing me. I'm so mesmerized with the speech and I focus on the story rather than paying attention to my timer screen. So being able to be attend this meeting with Roseburg Storyteller is one of the serendipitous. Oh my God, I'm sorry, forgive me my language. One of the serendipitous moment that I enjoy. Thank you. Back to you, Tiger.
Thank you, Arnie. Appreciate it. That was a serendipitous moment because we did not expect to hear from Arnie today. The other serendipitous moment for me was that Robbie actually was humorous. That's something new. Now we get to move on to the third phase. And Paul, for your information, there are 3 phases to every Toastmaster meeting. The first is the public speaking. Second is the table topics, which we just concluded. And now we get to our evaluation phase so that we help people to realize where they can make improvements, what they're doing well, and what they can improve on. So I will now turn this over to our esteemed president, the GE, Mary. This floor is all yours.
Right. Thank you, Tiger. And before I want to apologize for getting to the meeting late. I have no excuse except for I seem to be sleeping in. I don't know. I guess this fall back is, or maybe the holidays, just not getting enough sleep. So sorry that I missed the beginning of the meeting. But I do have some feedback from several of our role takers today. I will start first with our evaluator for our speaker, Michelle. I don't have an evaluator written down. Was there someone that was assigned to that, or are we going to do a round robin, maybe just give some feedback to her? Oh, there it is.
Maybe
It's
I am
Robbie. Robbie,
yeah,
I apologize, Robbie. I see it right now. So Robbie will be given an evaluation of Michelle's speech in 2 to 3 minutes. The floor is yours, Robbie.
Thank you, Mary. From Riches to Rags. That was a beautiful title. And in fact, it was a very intriguing title, Michelle. When I first saw that in the chat, I was wondering what it is that you were going to speak about. Of course, it's very descriptive, but it caught my attention, and I'm pretty sure it was the same with everyone else in our audience as well today. I would like to talk about some of the aspects that went really well, and then there I've used the word really already. Some of the aspects that went well, and I have 1 or 2 suggestions that can make the speech much better. First off, congratulations on such a good speech. It was completely impromptu, but I don't think in any way did it appear to be impromptu at all to any of us. The descriptions that you had of every incident that you shared with us, they were vivid. And I think I could imagine myself in those situations as well. As in, I was literally sitting next to you and seeing what was going on, the way you described each of those situations to us. Very well done job on that, Michelle. Especially the part about the grumbling and the rumbling tummy, as well as the stench of the fish that you spoke of, that struck a chord with me. And I'm sure it struck a chord with each of us as well. So very good job done on describing the situations that you went through from losing your dad and then moving on to a state where you were in poverty. Now, one of the things that I think that you can do better, of course, given that it was impromptu, I think you did beautifully well. But one thing that I would suggest that you can keep in mind is that the specific message that you wanted to give to the audience, if it had made an appearance a little sooner in the speech, that would have made a much more powerful impact. And also, I mean, I was surprised, to be very honest, that someone like you, and you are our obsessive compulsive timer who times herself and everybody else, even though she is not playing that role. So it was a little bit of a surprise to me as well to see that you went a little over time. And therefore, I would request that you not lose sight of the forest for the trees and just keep your specific purpose that you would want to share to the audience, or the message, the takeaway that you want to give to the audience, bring it a little sooner in the speech and then reiterate it at least once or twice so that the message hits home and people can jot it down and take it away and recall not just the content, which was very vivid, but also the message that you were giving to the audience as well. with that, again, once again, a very beautiful speech as always, Michelle. Looking forward to hearing it once again with a little more, with the specific message that you want to give a little sooner in the, and reading the book as well. Thank you. With that, back to you, General Evaluator Mary.
Thank you, Ravi. Excellent evaluation and some good feedback from an excellent speech by Michelle. Next, I'd like to call upon our grammarian to give us how we did in a serendipity type of meeting today. I'm determined to use that word of the day. So, grammarian Titin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mary. As your grammarian for this serendipitous meeting, it is truly a pleasure listening to all of your speeches. I try to avoid using the word really, especially in RSS meeting. So for the words that I would suggest for improvement, first one, omnivora. My suggestion will be omnivore. It is a noun. It means an animal or a person that eats a food of both plant and animal base. And second one, I enjoy to listen. My suggestion will be I enjoy listening. Okay, because it is a gerund, enjoy plus verb ing. So for this, I only found two for the grammar that we can improve. And next, I would like to share with you the wonderful figures of speech from you all. First one is a simile comparison between two objects which have at least one point in common, and then it is using the word like or as. Okay, however, here the word that was used is kind of, so I think it is a simile instead of a metaphor. My life is kind of, to replace the word like or as, is kind of cold and dark. While if there is no word such as like or as, then it is a metaphor. My life is cold and dark, for example. And then second one, from riches to rags. Okay, so I consider this as an antithesis, striking opposition in the same sentence, riches and rags. And the next one, personification in animate objects spoken of as having life. Example of the sentence from you, from Toastmaster Arni, if I'm not mistaken. Sunrise gives us hope. So sunrise is not something that is not living things. However, here in this sentence, it is spoken of like having life can give us hope. Next one, I consider this as an irony, conveying the opposite of their literal meaning, poking fun at a situation that people usually see as something that is very serious. So it is a kind of humorous one, not to make them suffer with my action, which I believe people want. Next, I consider this as a paradox. I call this payback. Okay, when Tiger called Arnie to be the last table topic speaker, a statement that appears to contradict itself because I believe it is not a payback. However, it is just for fun, to call that it is a payback. Now for the number of times the word of the day, serendipity or serendipitous, were mentioned in our meeting. Michelle mentioned the word of the day several times. Arnie and Tiger mentioned this word of the day several times. And I do find wonderful quotes and thoughts that I would like to share with you. The first one, we have 4 from Michelle today, and I think more from her. First one, sanctuary, a place of refuge or safety. Such a nice word. And next one, growling, rumbling sound of my tummy. Putrid smell of oil, the rotting smell. And then from riches to rags, changing of fortune from being well off to poor. From Paul, I appreciate the finest thing in life and juxtaposition, the fact of two things being placed close together. And from Mary, I'm pain-free and exercise more, eat healthier. Another one from her, if you got your health, you got it all. From Tiger, mind-boggling, startling, or overwhelming. From Rafi, pulling other people's legs or to tease someone. And one more from him, keeping straight face, serious facial expression. From Lauren, staring at the screen. From Michelle, one more breathtaking. And last one from Rafi, stack a card, a situation where someone is disadvantaged. So with that, I conclude this serendipitous journey through our linguistic wonderland. And I would like to check with the Udly if it is ready. Okay, usually it takes several minutes to load.
Should we go ahead and come back to that? Do you want to do that, Titan?
I think I will come back to this after several minutes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. Titan, I just have to say, I'm already seeing in the comments, that was an amazing grammarian report. I think you have set the bar at the top. I've never heard one that was so well organized, so complete. And I learned a lot about English there just now, some grammar, all those. That is the meat of a speech about the different types of speaking that we do, the paradox, the simile. You could really educate us English people with English as our first language. I was like, oh, wow, that is so good. So just, I am all inspired by you and your grammarian report. Well done. Definitely would be difficult to follow. But Lauren, you do get the opportunity to follow Titan with your timers report. Over to you, Lauren.
Thank you, Mary. Everyone, for the most part, stayed in the designated time. I put the times in chat. I'll quickly summarize the times. Michelle, her speech was 7 minutes, 35 seconds. For table topics, Tiger, 1 minute, 58 seconds. Titan, 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Arnie, 1 minute, 19 seconds. Michelle, 2 minutes, 38 seconds. Ravi, 1 minute, 17 seconds. Paul, 1 minute, 54 seconds. Mary, 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Myself, 1 minute, 57 seconds. Ravi's evaluation of Michelle's speech was 3 minutes, 14 seconds. That ends my report.
Excellent job, Lauren, and well done. I like the background. I don't know how to do that yet on my phone screen. I'll have to, and even on my computer, it's not allowing it. So I need to work on that because I think it makes it much more visual rather than holding something up, having the whole background. It stands out. So well done. Great job on timing today. We had a lot of questions to answer, and you were right on time with all this. Thank you very much. Chitin, you think we're ready for the counter? All right.
Yes, Mary.
The filler words counter. I am turning it back to Titin and the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mary. So for today's meeting, we have fewer than 4% of the filler words for the total of the filler words that we mentioned today in our meeting 33 at 19 12 OK, 11 7 5 like, and 1 and we also can break it down into the individual report of the filler words if we would like to. So here it is said that only 2% of the filler words that we mention in our speeches in this meeting this morning. So I think that is my counter report for this meeting, and back to you, Mary.
Thank you, Titin. And yeah, I like how we've been saying that in the scope of this hugely, because you look at the numbers, 33 and it's like, wow, really? I didn't hear nearly that many. But still, it's such a small portion of the total words spoken during our meetings, 2%. So, and so it's a good number, particularly I think when we started, we were doing about 4%. So we've cut down on our filler words since we've been using Udly. So thank you for that, Titin. Now it's time for my general evaluation of the meeting as a whole. And I have to start again with the apology that I mentioned that I wasn't here for the whole meeting. So I came in the middle of a very powerful speech by Michelle, and I'm very sorry that I missed that, but I'm grateful that we record the meetings, so I have the opportunity to go back and listen to that. And I would recommend that we put a note out to all the members that didn't attend today to listen to the recording, because we had a great speech and we had some great table topic questions and responses. So I hope people will take advantage of that recording and see what they missed. I will assume that we started on time. I know it flowed very, very nicely from when I did enter the meeting. It followed the agenda that we had set up. I like two things that we do in our meeting that none of my other meetings do. The table topics, the people type the table topics. It's common process here. And I understand the reasoning for it. If English is your second language, a lot of times it's easier to read the question than just hearing it. And so, for the benefit of our international members and guests, we do that. I think it's a wonderful thing that we do. And I think it helps clarify the questions. And I wish all the Toastmaster clubs that I belong to would do that. Similarly, we record all the times for the table topics and the different elements in the chat. So if someone needs immediate response to how they did on their table topic timing, boom, it's right there. Particularly like Arnie had to leave at the end, so she wouldn't have gotten to hear the timing of the table topics responses had she not seen it done during the table topic session. So well done. I think that's two things that we do extremely well that others do not. If I could have one suggestion, and that is maybe adding a timing element on our agenda so that the role takers know approximately how much time they have. And I know there are adjustments to be made because someone will talk less, someone will take more that we might have to adjust. But Arnie wasn't sure how much time we had for table topics. If we had said typically put aside maybe 20 minutes for our table topic session, that would help the table topics master gauge about how long they'd have. We also, based on our time, had plenty of time for a second speaker. So I hope we'll take advantage of that and get more speakers to sign up in the future so that we can accommodate, because I think our agenda timing accommodates two speakers. So with that, we'll finish a little early. But in general, it was a wonderful meeting, as it always is, very thought-provoking. the table topics were very, very good. I really enjoyed them. And like I said, I can't wait to hear the full speech by Michelle. Also, great food for thought. And I believe Ravi gave a very good evaluation of Michelle's speech, told him some things that she did very well, and gave her a suggestion or two of how she can improve. So those are all the elements of a key meeting, and I believe this meeting accomplished those things. With that, I will turn it back to our Toastmaster of the day, Ravi. Sorry, Tiger. I'm looking at Ravi.
Go ahead, Ravi. You're the Toastmaster of the day, so go ahead, take it over.
It was that blinding I just saw the top of it because from the top you both look the same. So he's got a hat on today, so he's correct. No, I'm sorry. Back to you, Tiger.
That's no problem. I thought about having Ravi be the Toastmaster of the day, but he said he wanted to evaluate Michelle's speech, so I allowed him to do that instead. This was a good meeting. I agree with Mary. We had a very good meeting. Table topics, as you guys all know, is my favorite. I love when everybody gets to answer a table topics question. That is one of the advantages of having a small group. Hopefully, next week we'll have more like 10 or 12 people here. However, getting 7 or 8 people to me makes the meeting, there's enough people here to do all the roles and everybody gets to participate, which is fantastic. So we appreciate everybody coming. I especially like the fact that we didn't have a theme, but Arnie had a theme. Her table topics were very, very thoughtful, and we've got some great answers. Michelle's speech was very thought-provoking. I have been living in affluence and I've been in poverty, so I know both ends of that story. And I think honestly, I think everybody should experience both ends of that to be able to appreciate what you have. It's easier when you can appreciate what you didn't have or what you don't have or what other people don't have. So thank you very much, Michelle, for the reminder. At this point, let's go ahead and get some feedback from our guest. And I don't know about you guys, but when he was doing his table topics, if he had not told me he was not a Toastmaster, I would have just assumed he was a guest from another club because that table topics answer was spot on. Very well done. So, Paul, go ahead and just give us some feedback of what you thought of our meeting.
I thought it was a really enlightening experience. I really liked hearing all of your evaluations of the various parts of this meeting. Like especially the grammarian one. Like that was amazing. Like there was a whole PowerPoint for it and everything. Like, man, setting the bar high indeed. I, for my part, didn't know that the table topics was like in between 1 and 2 minutes. So I thought it was just supposed to be like a few sentences. That's why like I stopped all of a sudden. So in the future, now I know that it's going to last 1 to 2 minutes. So that's great. And it's just really nice to hear perspectives from all around the world because I live in a town where, everyone kind of looks the same, everyone speaks the same, and everyone has very similar perspectives on things. So it's really nice to hear international perspectives, and I look forward to hearing more of those in the future.
Thank you very much for being here. And Lauren, thank you very much for inviting him to our meeting. I want to inspire everybody to bring a friend. The best way to get people to come is to invite a friend. Social media and all these other things, once in a while someone will come, but the best way to get people is to bring a friend, and then they can contribute to the meeting. The more people we have here, the greater variety of people we have, the more interesting are our meetings. And Paul, we would love to have you back. Come back as often as you want. Your public speaking ability is already at a high level, so this would just be a matter of taking it to the next level.
Thank you for saying that.
Trust me when I tell you, I have been to hundreds of Toastmaster meetings all over the world, and nobody gives a grammarian report like Tethan. She is off the chart. If there was a world championship of grammarians, Tethan would be in the final 8 for sure on that world stage. She's amazing. The one bummer about that is when you have a friend that speaks English better than you do, and she's from a foreign country, it's a little embarrassing sometimes when she's having to correct my English when I'm an English teacher. But that's a story for another time. Thank you, everybody. This was a wonderful meeting. We are early. If anyone has anything to add to our recording, now would be the time. Anybody?
I'll just thank you, Tiger, for stepping in for me. I am the president, and I should have welcomed our guest, Paul, and I'm very grateful that you joined us today. Sorry that I was late. So thank you
No
for stepping up, Tiger.
no worries, Mary. You were here just in time to listen to all the evaluation, so you timed it perfect. You probably looked and saw that Michelle was speaking. Oh no, Michelle wasn't on. I was going to say something funny, like you saw Michelle was speaking and figured you come after her, but you didn't know she was speaking. Maybe it was a serendipitous moment. Thank you, everybody.
I think I should have gotten an alarm clock for Christmas or something because the last 2 meetings I've been late. So
What Robbie does when I'm speaking, if I'm the first speaker, he usually shows up just in time for the second speaker. I I don't know why that is, but it seems to be something I've noticed in the past. Of course, Robbie, you know I really, really like you, sir. No, I really love you, even better. And with that, let's move on to closing our meeting. So on 3, we will stop recording. 1, 2, and